He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Dael and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the podcast where we go gently into the silky, cold waters of...
Those silky waters.
Oh, yeah.
Of Tim Burton's 1992 sequel to Batman, Batman Returns, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall Magellan. Oh, my God.
Niall Magellan.
I'm setting sail. Getting out of this damn sewer finally.
Oh my God, you can tell we're near the end of this. I am your other host, John Magellan, descending into his watery grave slowly but surely.
Twist at the end of the season, me and John were brothers the whole time. We didn't even
The
know.
whole time.
Oh my God. If people are wondering who that third voice is, that of course is returning guests, one of the Bat Minute regulars actually, the merry monarch of mythology, Dael
Good
Kingsmill.
alliteration. Hi everyone. Thanks for having me back.
Well, hopefully it's more enjoyable for you than Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Oh, Purple Rain. Okay. Let's not revisit
I don't think
that
you're over that
right
yet.
now. No, I will never be over it. I will never be over that viewing experience. It's that and the Avatar movie that I will never be able to get out of my head. The Last Airbender.
Also, I was going to say, do you mean like the James Cameron's
Avatar? James
or...
Cameron's one was nothing to write home about either, but at least I wasn't invested.
But James Cameron ones, you will never be able to get those out of your head now, because how many more are coming? 3, 4?
Ugh. I mean,
There's
it's got a Disney World land now, right?
Yeah.
Oh
That's
no!
And apparently that's very good. That's better than the film.
I am genuinely curious to see just what's going to happen. Are these going to come out? And then James Cameron's going to realize, like, no one even remembers who the characters are. Like, it's been too damn long.
I have to start from the beginning again.
I actually watched it for only the second time. I saw it once in the cinema, and then I watched it a few months ago, and I've already forgotten every character. I don't even remember the main character's name.
I'm about to blow
Sully
your
or
mind. His name is James Sully. I might be making up that his first name is James, but it's like a Jake or a James or whatever.
I was going to say, I thought it was Jake. That was one of the few things I remembered.
I think that actor went to NIDO with my drama teacher from high school.
Oh, everyone in it is good. Like, I'm not faulting them. It's everything else in the movie. This has taken a strange turn already.
It has.
Episode.
Sorry.
I remember though.
This is how we operate.
That was just because I was recording a thing recently with people where we were talking about Face Off and CH Pounder or Ch Pounder as I always refer to her as. She's in Face Off, and then I was looking on her IMDb. And because I was with one of the guys from Titanic Minute, and I was like, "Oh, did you know she's going to be in like Avatar 3 and stuff?" And he's just like, "Yeah, she's in the first one." I was like, "She is? What the hell? I don't remember that."
When?
What? Oh my God! That movie baffles me because it's still one of the most successful films of all time.
I think they're saying now Endgame might finally knock it off. That's only an
Oh,
assumption
please.
because
I
Endgame's
hope
presumably
so.
going to be massive.
But it's that big a film, but it's had absolutely no cultural impact of any kind whatsoever.
None.
None. Like, has that ever happened before? That's a fascinating study.
There better be academics writing doctoral theses on it.
That's the thing, because it's so similar to other movies, though. That's just why it's like, if you're going to do any theses on Avatar as a film, as a text, it's like, you could just watch, like, Dances with Wolves, and it's like, you'd be watching a better movie.
Fern Gully.
You got Fern Gully, you get Tim Curry as a gas. You know,
Yep.
he's both literally a gas in the film, and he's a gas to listen to in the park.
That was perfect.
But anyway, we're
Batman.
here to talk about minute 118, which begins with the penguin asking for a nice cool drink of ice water, and it ends 1 minute later with the penguin presumably getting his face scraped off as he's pushed into the water.
I mean, that is one way to put it.
And we're laughing and joking, but this moment is sad. It's the death of a hero to me.
Well,
noble man.
I cannot concede to that point.
I don't think I can either. I love the fact that, like, when this minute opens, I mean, he's got all his, trademark green blood pouring out from his mouth. And I just keep thinking of the fact that the whole way through the movie, it's been kind of this question of, he's a man. Like, should he be treated as a man or as a monster? And it's like, well, I mean, he is bleeding green. I feel like there is an inhuman element beyond the deformity. I feel like there's his blood is wrong. He's not human.
That was one of those things. Like, I think they could have been. Well, maybe it would have been too on the nose or whatever. But like. Yeah, because I think the stuff coming out of his mouth is the bile that he's had like the whole movie. He's had this constant trickle of like a blacky green bile.
Real gross.
That still works though.
Yeah,
because that shouldn't be pouring out of your mouth.
But just like, cause then you see the cuts on his face and stuff. He has actual blood. But then could they have been clever and been like, maybe he has blue blood because he's from like aristocratic stock?
Oh.
And they've been like, the penguin was a blue blood the whole time.
Look at his royal birth.
Oh, that would be good. That would be good.
Okay, I have a question that maybe you two can help me with. All right. Because we watch at the beginning of the film, he's born, his parents chuck him over the bridge, and he goes through into the sewers / old abandoned zoo, right?
Yeah.
Where he is found by the penguins and adopted by the penguins. Right?
Yeah.
So then, but we know that he like ends up in this cohort of traveling circus freaks.
As you do.
But I just can't work out at what point either the circus freaks were hanging out in the old abandoned zoo's sewer system, or alternatively, the penguins handed him over to the circus freaks.
No, that I'm in the same boat. I don't understand that at all. It would only make sense to me if the circus people were based in the zoo,
right?
And the penguin would pop up out of the sewers like for food, and they met him or something.
Yeah, and
But
like
that's
taught
not
him
what happened.
language. Can the penguin
Yeah.
speak penguin? I have so many questions about his upbringing.
Well, there's even weirder elements in like the original script where he speaks to the penguins like, apparently there's the elders, which are 4 penguins who he kind of reveres as like kind of like gods.
Holy crap! Why would they cut this out of the script?
I know. Yeah, it's perfect.
But that adds even more questions though, because you could be like, maybe the penguins originally were part of the Red Triangle gang or something, and it's cool. But then, yeah, because it is supposed to be, as we see in the minute, when he falls down and that little thing he slides into, that looks to be the same exact spot where his bassinet washed up.
Right?
So it is indicating, like, yeah, he drifted into Arctic world, which, as far as we know, has no affiliation with the Red Triangle gang.
No, it doesn't. No.
So then they found him there. Maybe he was put up for adoption, and the Red Triangle gang adopted him. But like, or the Red Triangle.
The
put him up for
penguins
adoption?
filled out the papers?
But we see that the indication throughout the movie is that the Red Triangle circus was legit, and it only became an illegal enterprise once Oswald.
Yeah,
Took
after
over
he's
and was-
there and like is stealing babies.
Yeah. So no, we've covered this minute by minute. Don't get that. Still don't understand that principle.
Doesn't make sense.
There's that bit, oh my gosh, while the penguins are dragging him down the ramp very slowly into, his final resting waters, those silky smooth waters, there's that bit where you look over and Bruce is watching sadly from the sidelines with this super serious face, as if he is not watching penguins guiding a body into zoo warders. Like, what?
It's a beautiful moment.
I do wonder was there alternate takes where like Michael Keaton was looking around going like, what the hell is going on? Like,
What is this?
What is this film?
And imagine him having to then afterwards go into like Alfred being like, so what happens, sir? Like, well, okay.
Well.
So Selena Kyle electrocuted Max Shrek to death. She disappeared. I found his charred corpse. 5 seconds after that, the penguin came out. He was still alive somehow.
I thought I was going to have to fight again.
And then he just fell down dead. And then a bunch of penguins came along and held a penguin funeral for him. And I was just standing there like an asshole, just not knowing what to do.
Not even wearing my mask.
It's just been like it was wonder after once they go away, is Bruce is like, oh, I'm done. Just gets out the grappling hook and he's just, okay, I'm going home.
This is the time to retire. Like, if that ever happened to me in my, like, career, that suddenly a bunch of penguins walked past and held a funeral, that's the moment I go, you know what? I don't need this job. I don't need it.
Well, you're never going to top that for awesomeness.
It's
so
true.
Yeah, you might as well.
I do also wonder, like, does Batman ever like report this? Does he go to like the police and go, oh, by the way, you want to check down and the old Arctic
There might
World
be
exhibit?
a body.
It's like Max Shrek's body's gonna be there. You might find the penguin, but a bunch of penguins threw him in the water, so he's.
No, I think the penguins are going to devour his corpse in the traditional manner.
That sounds right.
They're just
What was
marinating him for the time being.
What do you think the penguin budget on this film was like? Like, in terms of hiring live penguins to do stuff?
It's through the roof. We don't have an exact figure, but it's huge because they imported the penguins, obviously, and they had to build the sets around the penguins, like keep them cool and refrigerated and feed the penguins.
You've got the penguins who are swimming, the penguins who are standing still, the penguins who have to act.
Yeah, and then they made fake penguins as well. So it's most of the damn budget, I think, is penguin related.
Which is impressive given that this is the most involvement that they actually have in the story of the film. Like, they're mostly set dressing until this moment.
Yeah, and the build up to this, I suppose, the attack on the city and then this bit, that's kind of the only reason they're there.
Yeah. I
need them.
I had honestly forgotten that they were carrying the missiles into the city. Which is kind of a big plot moment, but, you know.
I mean, we were talking about
there's that much going on in this film. I don't blame you.
Yeah, but
So
if
many
you like
layers.
the concept of the elder penguins, Dale, you'd been disappointed also to find out that they cut plans they had for penguins to have extendable boxing gloves coming out of their chest.
Love it.
That was a thing. They're going to have buzz saws attached to them and all, like a whole bunch of crazy. It's basically penguins going around wearing like balaclavas and stuff, just assaulting everybody. It was supposed to be like, yeah, they were going to be much more involved.
If only
I
they
would've
didn't
loved
have to spend so much of the budget on their actor penguins.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it was. As we've
That's
discovered
it.
recently, Niall, the penguins moved to Hollywood and they made it.
Yeah.
They became big stars.
It's like it's like I think one of them's married to Phoebe Cates from Gremlins, as I recall as well.
True
Yeah.
fact.
Wow. I just love seeing them succeed, you know, because there's not much of a space for penguins in Hollywood.
No. I think
There isn't.
I guess maybe you could say it's they've kind of got the advantage though, because if you need a penguin, you know who to go to. But at the same time, how often does Hollywood need penguins? Is the only down.
Mr. Popper needed plenty of penguins.
That's
Yeah.
true.
But then I think one of the penguins actually wrote that script specifically so they would get, they would have a part to play. Like that was the whole purpose of it. It was like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck writing Good Will Hunting. The penguins were like, we need to step up as well and write our own movie. And then
It worked.
yeah, they wrote Mr. Popper's Penguins. And then they were hoping to get Danny DeVito back because they worked so well with him, and then he just refused. And then
Hang on, why did they not call up Danny DeVito for that film? That would have been amazing.
maybe they were just like, get that guy from Batman. And then they're like, oh, the Riddler? No problem.
He'll do.
Got it.
He'll do. Oh, we're going to talk about him plenty next
Oh, wait a
season.
minute, let's go double check though, because I'm pretty certain we might have an everything's connected with that, because I believe Mr. Popper's Penguins was directed by Mark Waters of Mean Girls fame, who is the brother of Dan Waters, who wrote this movie. So,
How do you keep these connections in your brain?
I mean, that to be fair, that one is because there was also a Mean Girls minute that just concluded quite recently, and we had the host of that on, and it was just like, well, Dan Waters
We know
wrote
your
Heathers
secrets.
and stuff, and his brother
but
directed
I
Mean
was
Girls.
present for this, and I don't remember. So there you go.
Didn't store
How
that
do you
information.
keep it in your brain?
I just noticed, you
No.
guys, that I'm wearing Batman pajama pants right this second.
Wow.
So it is all connected.
It is.
Which
Fate.
era of Batman is it though? Is it like just general comic book Batman? Is it Keaton Batman, or is it Batfleck? Or
I'm trying to work it out. It's kind of like maybe the Batman, you know, the animated series.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
with the SpongeBob penguin. That was the guy who played SpongeBob did the voice of the penguin. In that
Oh, I was
show.
going to say what the
He's-
penguin was SpongeBob like.
Hey, he's a great voice actor. That would work.
That'd be great though. The somehow like over the course of SpongeBob SquarePants, he got even more like deformed, and he gradually morphed into the penguin, and that was the actual origin of Oswald.
Oh man,
Cobblepot.
have
No,
just a super dark finale episode of SpongeBob where he turns into a full-on villain.
Oh yes, I want everything to end that way.
That's-
I love depressing endings.
That tells us a lot about you.
But like the end of SpongeBob's is him completely drying out, and then a bunch of other sponges just appear out of nowhere, and like, although if they put him back in the water, I guess that would revive him. So
He'd be fine.
Does that work? Oh, speaking of water, actually, I never mentioned at the start of the minute, the very start. I absolutely love the way he requests some ice water.
Yeah.
Because that'll fix it, mate. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's all he needs.
That's all you need.
I should also mention though, because there's quite a differentiation between this and the original Dan Waters draft. That goes an interesting route with it, because, well, I could read segments of it here, because they have a whole big thing where all the stuff with the toxic waste and stuff, that's all a Wesley Shrek edition. Like that's not in the original script. So the finale was supposed to take part in the penguin trying to flee the Arctic world via its roller coaster that it had.
Oh.
And there was a big fight with him and Batman on the roller coaster. And then eventually Batman just kind of pummels him. He has a really stupid line where he's actually saying to the penguin as he punches him, it's like, "You're so much fun to punch." And it's just like, oh, God.
That would be
But,
good, because I feel like Batman was bad at being Batman in this movie. Like, I feel like Alfred did a lot of the work, and then the
All
rest
of
of
it.
the time, Bruce kind of screwed it up. Like, Selena straight up electrocuted Shrek to death.
Yeah, and that I've said this a lot of times, but you support that. Like, she's a hero as well.
I'm so on board. I feel like she's the real vigilante hero of this film.
Oh, yeah.
She
yeah.
is. Definitely. Like, you support her. Maybe you could question her methods, but you support what she's planning to do.
Yeah.
She's getting revenge on these evil men who've wronged her.
Yeah. I should say, though, now that we're briefly talking about Max Shrek, like, Dale, you were actually the cause of one of our recurring things throughout season 1, in that you were the first person to tell me that Jack Nicholson wasn't regarded as a sexy person. And it was the shock waves still linger into this movie over that. Because we've been asking people
don't see how that was surprising information.
Agreed.
But in this season, though, because we were told then that some people do find Chris Walken sexy, which was even more shocking to me.
No, he's a handsome guy.
It definitely makes way more sense than Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Look, I can't explain it.
He's handsome, he's charismatic,
He's got this
interesting and
suave,
quirky.
like nonchalance about him.
Yeah. And he's smooth, he can dance.
Yeah.
People like
Got that Weapon of Choice film clip?
that. Hell yeah.
He's silky smooth like the waters of Gotham.
Like the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
It'd be great at the end of this. There's like one of the penguins is like, we have to dump his body in the waters of sewer Minnetonka, and then once the body's in the water, the penguin's just like, another penguin is just like, wait, that's not sewer Minnetonka. It just jumps on a motorbike and drives away.
Perfect.
That's
ending.
it. That's the
Come on.
end of the film. I should clarify, by the way, I'm not, like, attracted to Shrek.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
either Christopher Walken Shrek in this film or Shrek from the hit film Shrek. But, but
I mean, that's a given that
Walken,
you fancy Shrek.
Let's not go back to that era of bizarre, sexy Shrek fics.
I mean, I look at them daily.
So,
I don't know.
go back to that era never ended. Dale. It's still happening.
Still thriving.
Shrek Thicc.
It's like John's Google searches is just Shrek Thicc fic. He's just looking for fan fiction.
How does this happen? Like, I feel like I agree to be on a Batman podcast, and then we talk, and 10 minutes later, somehow, Shrek Thicc.
Oh, this is every episode to us. It just descends even more as we get towards the end. Here's me saying this is a very sad episode and a sad minute, and we're talking about Shrek's thick booty.
Yeah.
What's going on? But I am sad here, right? Because I'm going to be serious for a minute, right?
Okay.
The penguin is evil.
Yes.
The penguin's evil.
Yes, he is.
But what chance did this guy really have in life? You know, every single thing was stacked against him from day one. Even though he was a rich, like, blue blood arsehole. Like, he should have had it made, and he didn't.
Here's what it is, though. He was raised by a loving family of penguins.
Oh.
So I don't think he gets nearly as much of the excuse of, you know, nurture being bad. Because even though he lived in a sewer, he was well fed, he was well looked after, and then he was handed off to circus freaks who loved him enough to make him their leader. You know, like...
It could have been worse, let's be honest.
Yeah, he maybe wasn't perfectly socialized, but...
It seems as well like you could be like, oh, well, he was handed over to like an evil circus gang. But as we said earlier in the episode, the indication is like the Red Triangle Circus was like a thriving, successful circus that was turned evil by the influence of the strange exotic bird boy that they took in, who started abducting children and stuff.
It's a cautionary tale. Never take in a bird boy.
No, they turned evil clearly because a circus just can't thrive in this economy.
That's true.
It's
You've got to find alternate methods of financing yourself. Come on.
Yeah.
Who's making money out of the circus now?
Particularly now, people are very much just like against the circus these days. Like
They should be. Like, let's be real. After what went down with the Joker, you can't keep giving your money to a circus.
No, it's crazy. And actually, we've talked about this a few times, Dale, so we might edit this out, I don't know. But isn't it weird that the villains in this, other than the Penguin, well, he is one of them, but the other villains are all circus-based.
Yeah.
Yet they have no connection to the Joker.
Yeah,
Why isn't
real
it just
weird.
the Joker's gang looking for a new leader?
That's kind of what I thought it was going to be. Because I've only ever seen the second half of this movie before now. And so, yeah, more dramatic. Basically from Michelle Pfeiffer becoming Catwoman onwards is where I've seen it. But watching it from the start, I was like, oh, okay, so they're not connected to the Joker in any way. I just assumed they were like dregs left over, but
wouldn't that make sense? Like the gang are looking for a new leader. They're lost. They're desperate.
They're hiding
They
in the
turn to this
sewers.
guy.
They find a penguin guy.
that could have been an interesting angle though, had they like much of we were saying like, oh, they could have painted this movie to be like, oh, well, this is the tragedy of someone, you know, being denied privilege for being different. They could have done a thing about like a tale of prejudice, because they could have done in the aftermath of the Joker, everyone associates the circus with the Joker now, even though he wasn't anything to do with the circus. He was just a chemical plant accident.
Yeah,
like, that's
he
what happened
was
to him.
barely even a clown. He just dressed like one.
Yeah, so they could have been like, oh, this is what prejudice leads to. Is like if the circus hadn't failed, the Red Triangle gang wouldn't have gone off the rails, and this wouldn't have happened. And it's born from the prejudice of people going like, oh, there was a clown guy. I don't like clowns anymore.
Also,
and
it
stuff.
would be a very Tim Burton thing to do, to be like, this is a movie about prejudice against clowns.
Yes, perfect. They should be prejudiced. People should be prejudiced against clowns. Come on.
Do you have clown
Come
fear?
on. What's their deal? No, I'm not scared of them. I just don't get them. Like, what do they do? Why are they amusing? Why are they fun? But then again, you know, it's old-fashioned, a bit like a court jester. Why are they amusing? Why are they funny, prancing? Why is the king laughing at this prancing?
I mean, back
don't
in the
understand.
day, though, it was like standards of entertainment were so low back then.
There wasn't a lot going
You put on a hat with a bell on it. That's
Maybe
it.
if someone came into your workplace dressed funny, prancing around, maybe you'd find it funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'm that person in my workplace that usually does things like that. I do actually have a jester's hat at my desk at the moment.
But in talking though about like sympathy for the penguin,
For the devil.
Yeah. There was again what I was alluding to earlier in the Waters draft. His final interaction with Batman is you get a lot. It's a lot more painted on, and again it has the walking contradiction of it though. With because he says once he's been sort of stopped, he says like all I ever wanted was the love of my fellow man and their painful destruction. That's kind of like it was going sympathetic there, and now it's gone back to just like you just wanted
And
to
now
kill.
it's good.
And then Batman says to him, I understand. I protect the people of Gotham City from themselves. That means I must love and despise. I must be the light and the dark. And then the Penguin responds with, oh, stall for time much? Life is scary. You're a man who wants to be a bat. I'm a freaky bird who wants to be a man. Did you know that I found out tonight that Max Shrek is my brother? Can you believe that? By the way, Dale, Max Shrek was also his brother in this draft of the movie. Dun, dun, dun.
What? Okay, I'm done. I'm good now.
But then Batman says in the directions, and Batman snorts and then laughs. Slowly, deeply, Penguin contorts in a wild cackle of camaraderie, and then says, hey, I wonder what Catwoman's deal was. And Batman says, actually, she's my girlfriend. And the Penguin and Batman and the Penguin roar even louder, which would have been weird to see, but it also, I think that's supposed to be like referencing the end of The Killing Joke, when the Joker tells Batman a joke and the both of them burst out laughing and stuff. And it's really creepy then, and it would have been...
The idea that Bruce has more in common with his enemies than he does with his...
Yeah, with the...
townspeople? The civilians? Yeah.
I think at that point it almost could have worked as well when like in the lead up to introducing Robin, it would have been like, oh, this guy does need somebody because the only person he gets to talk to who's like normal is Alfred, and Alfred's like an old man, like he's not going to be able to keep up with the young hip Bruce Wayne.
He doesn't know the slang.
I think Alfred's hip. I think he's hipper than Bruce.
I think Alfred needs a new hip, but
Do you think Bruce still sleeps upside down? Like he did in the
weird that they
first movie?
don't show it. Like, you think there'd be one shot of him doing that in this film. But
it would have been good if they had a scene where he and Selena properly sleep together. He gets into hanging up that down thing, and then she's like curled up like a cat, like in a little basket beneath him or something.
That'd be amazing. Then again, my cat only sleeps on my lap.
No.
Like, I've had to train myself to sleep on my back because she'll headbutt me until I roll over so she can sleep on my lap.
What?
A little bit. Maybe they could have done
So
something.
cute.
It's adorable. I love it.
It would have been something though. They try. Maybe Bruce is like, "Oh yeah, I probably shouldn't sleep upside down in front of this woman because you'll think that's weird. So I'll just stay in the bed." And then she starts doing like cat things where she's like lying on top of him and curling up on his face and stuff. And he's like, "Oh wait, what a shocking spin on the previous movie's scene."
That would have been good, actually. I would have liked that. Like, he's
That would've
freaked
been
out a
funny.
little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this what actually happens to the Penguin in that original script then is he actually like, while they're laughing, the Penguin then says like, we could talk all night about why we do what we do, why we dress the way we do, who had the best childhood trauma, who got the worst genes, who's the real monster, and what's truly human. But hey, at the end of it, it all comes down to who's holding the umbrella, which is a big line that was in the movie earlier, and we covered that line with Omar Najam.
My nemesis.
Yes.
Some would say, he's my penguin.
Oh, there's going to be a showdown coming.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
The end game is at hand.
But then at that point then Batman just if the Penguin says any last words and Batman says yes, just two, Laser Bunny, which was earlier in the movie that was or earlier in that script that was Penguin's code word for like a little sonic device he had that would cause birds to flock.
Oh.
So yeah, Batman
It
throws
was his rosebud, actually.
So then he throws like a thing at the Penguin, all the bats come out swarm him. He falls off the roller coaster track and just kind of crashes to the ground. All the while shouting things about like, oh, I need some famous last words. You gotta give me time for some famous last words. And he comes out with "death is like," and then weirdly enough, like it cuts from that. He falls, and he kind of crawling along by himself for a bit. It cuts to all the stuff with Selena and Shrek, and then the end of it is the penguin
dang.
looking up into the sky, going, "Death is like this." And it's weird because that also reminded me a bit of, remember in the Sam Ham original draft from the first movie, John, they had a whole big poetic thing of the Joker looking up into the sky and him kind of like wistfully like dying and stuff. I was like, that's the same kind of idea. I wonder if like they really wanted to work that into one of these movies somewhere.
Just wrote it in again.
It's like, yeah, we didn't get to do that last
One
time.
day they'll let us do it.
That's why at the end of like Batman Forever, like Two-Face was supposed to be wistfully looking up, seeing that coin come down and just bonks him in the head while he's lying dying.
You know what? I would possibly kill for a movie that really just was Citizen Kane with the penguin. Because
we need it.
Because imagine, because it's like he's born into wealth, and then there's all this stuff, and he wanted to be good, but he ended up bad anyway. Also, he ran for mayor at some point, and the people loved him, but then they turned on him, and then in the end, his dying words are, "Laser Bunny."
Laser Bunny, yes. Oh, this is perfect. This is Tim Burton's Citizen Kane, is what we're saying. Well, controversial. I think this is a much better movie.
Oh!
It's Citizen Kane. I can see why it was good when it came out, but it's
I don't think so.
Yeah, incredible practical effects, but very long.
Not so exciting these days.
I still like Citizen Kane. I think it still stands up as a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I liked it much more than I thought I was going to when I watched it.
Yeah. I was forced to watch it, to be fair, but that doesn't help. I was made to at school, but it was okay.
See, I watched it because I was tutoring a girl who was being forced to watch it at school, and she hated it. And I was like, oh, I was expecting to hate this because of everything you told me. And as it turns out, it's actually fine.
It's okay. Back to this, though.
Oh, yeah, Batman.
I don't want to go off on a Citizen Kane rant because I'll be here all day. I do another thing I find quite sad and moving, but also nice, all at once, all in one little package, is that the penguins emerge here out of the shadows to escort the body of their fallen comrade. And it's like these are the only friends he has left at this point. You know, everyone's abandoned him. Everyone's turned their back on him. But these penguins who you presume he's been with for years, these are the big king penguins. They are still there for him. Like they might disagree with him, but they're going to bury him anyway. They still love him. That's quite cute.
They've lost so many of their penguin kind, but they still love him.
Yeah. I like the fact that like throughout all the events of the finale, they were just chilling behind that rock as well.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh.
It's getting pretty explodey out there. Better stay put.
That's smart. I'm with them. Clever.
Just now there's like, oh, is it over? Okay. Just coming up, like, just nudge the body in the water. See ya, Batman.
Oh, no, I love it. These animals, they don't judge. And I do wish there was a little bit more of a I'm doing it for the penguins plot from Oswald.
That would have been
I think
nice.
that would have been cool, wouldn't it? Like everything he's doing is for his brothers, his children.
Do you think that the penguins are the only ones who survived the abandoned zoo? Because there was a polar bear enclosure. There was
That's a good point.
Big whale skeleton. It was a weird zoo. But do you think other zoo animals survived and thrived like the penguins did? Did they also have their own babies?
Did we ever discuss this? I don't think we did. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
What happened to the other animals?
It could have been like, Batman's like, I gotta go deal with the polar bear king. Now I was like, thankfully he's just over the way.
That would be great, and it would be perfect for like a theme park.
Yeah,
because you could just move around the different zones.
Yes.
As I said too, like it's long gone now though. But you know, the head of the Arctic world, the polar bear that was atop that, the thing that you see it fall down. This is what you might have been interested, Dale, because when I was a kid, I thought that was supposed to be some reference to like Cerberus, because it looked like it had 3 heads, but it was just the paws were up. I was like, I wonder if this is like, I think we were talking about when we first saw it, and I was like, is it an allusion to the fact that there's 3 kind of freak characters in this? You got Batman, the Penguin, and Catwoman, so you're seeing like the 3 heads there, and that's what they're going for. But it's just like, I think it's just a polar bear. Like they're not going for anything too stressful with it. But
I like that you as a kid went to something so like this classical, yes, Cerberus, guardian of Hades. Like,
well, even there though, because he's right above like the dank pit of evil that the Penguin's in. Mm-hmm. So it's like the guardian of Hades. It's like, oh, why wouldn't you have that there? but like I've actually, a weird thing I used to do as a kid though to do with this scene was like, I used to try to practice on a bed the whole just falling face first, like the Penguin does.
No, I did it as well.
So it's really hard to do because you instinctively move your head to guard your nose, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
no one wants a broken nose.
Yeah.
It's a comical fall considering how upset I am with this minute. It sounds awful, but it's really amusing the way he flops.
And then he's just lying there in his long johns.
Oh, it's like me after a night out.
That's like, the Penguin at the start of the minute too. Just like, oh, he looks like how I feel at the end, just approaching the end of this season, just getting everything done. Yeah.
It's a good visual representation of what we're going to be like, in a couple of episodes' time.
But no, because I remember though, like the no one acclaimed unless it's like it's not a puppet or not a puppet, but just like a mannequin they throw face first down. I'm assuming it is an actual person in the outfit, but no one ever gets any acclaim. It's over in the UK. One of the most revered jokes that was ever on TV is Del Boy falling through the bar in Only Fools and Horses. Yes. And there's been analysis of that scene on TV where people are like, oh, it's so good because he falls straight. Like, it's not like a tumble. It's like his back is straight and he goes down at an angle. And he never instinctively breaks it to prevent himself from falling. That's why it's so funny.
That's the key to selling it as a joke.
Yeah. But like, no one ever acclaims whoever did this face first, nose flattening dive for the Penguin here.
There's no acclaim for the true heroes.
No.
There never is. DeVito needs some respect for this. He should get a retrospective Oscar just for that.
Just for that one thing. I was like, was that even
just for that?
Was that even you, Danny? I was like, I don't
They'll
know.
make a new category at the Oscars for it.
Yeah, they should. There should just be a Danny DeVito Oscar every year. I think.
Oh.
He deserves one every single year.
Here's a question. So the Penguins come and they move him into the water.
I think I know what you're going to ask because I've got the same.
It was like, how?
How
is he moving?
Because they're not even like walking very close to him. Because I would assume that they just got themselves like caught under his shoulders or something and then kept shuffling. But no, it's like no contact and somehow he moves.
Yeah.
Like I've got one thing that I've come up with watching it minute by minute, right? Because all my life, I thought, I assume you've all thought, is that they are dragging him into the water. But he is on a slope. So maybe he's just slowly
Maybe he's
slipping.
just sliding. Oh.
Yeah, and they're escorting the body in. That's the only thing that makes sense.
They're just like pacing themselves to his slide.
Yeah. They're going with it out of respect. Because they do respect him still, as we've established. So it's the only thing that can make sense. And the delayed slide, like, because he was laying there for a while and then started slipping in. Maybe it's meant to be funny?
I just always kind of assume, like, is it some kind of mystical penguin magic or something?
Do they have telekinesis? Are they super powerful penguins?
All penguins are super powerful.
Because this movie,
let's be real.
I
like the slide theory though.
You can't rule out magic in this movie because
It's
again,
true.
one of the big debates we've had all season is that
about the cats.
Yeah, exactly about the
cats. The fact that they resurrect her.
Because I'm of the mindset that no, she never actually died. She just was really, really injured. That's why she.
I want to believe that, except that it's the cat that she keeps feeding in her kitchen, and then it summons other cats, and they all lick her until she twitches back to life. She looks dead before then.
Yep.
Like, the logic side of my brain wants to be like, no, she just wasn't dead. But I'm like, no. She also, like, should be dead from so many other things during that movie. Like the 9 lives thing that she says. So I kind of have to conclude that those cats brought her back to life and gave her 9 cat lives.
Yes, my theory wins.
But like, by that logic, then, it's just like, well, I guess the penguins are just moving the penguin via...
Yeah, everyone's got magical animal patrons. I bet the cats were from the zoo.
Ah!
Oh.
That's why it had to close down. It's like, this zoo's too dangerous. There's magic animals running around all over there.
They're all magic.
I'll tell you what, right? I as an animal lover, animal rights person, I have conflicted things with zoos. But when I go, this sounds awful, if there's like a dead normal animal there that you just see all the time anyway, like just some bird.
Yeah.
No, nobody's interested. It's like,
Get
I
out
don't
of
really
here.
need to see that. I
Who
want to see
gave you an
penguins and stuff.
enclosure?
Yeah. Like you'll see just some kind of, it's like a wild dog, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of cool, but
I think that's just a
I
dog
feel-
someone's brought to the park, John. That's just his dog just rocking around the place.
In Australia, it's or at least where I live or grew up, it's sort of common to have wildlife parks, which are kind of like zoos, but it's like the animal park in my hometown, which was like a rural sort of dairy farming place. We had the animal park, and it would have stuff like dingoes or crocodiles and things that are like Australian native animals that you don't see as often, koalas, stuff like that, and that was very cool.
My favorite animal, the koala.
They're lovely.
I had a koala onesie.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't have it on at the moment. Sorry.
Wow, letting the team down. Just so that you know, I'm very disappointed that you didn't predict I was going to bring up koalas. But they also have sections that are like kangaroos, which sounds exciting if you're not Australian, but also if you grew up in my hometown, there are just tons of kangaroos everywhere. Like
you just see them all the time, do you? That's crazy.
yeah. Or I mean, I don't now that I live further up the coast in a city, but like where I grew up, it was like at school you'd have to dodge the kangaroo poo on the oval. Like
Oh my god.
yeah, they're everywhere. Dodging kangaroos at night was a thing. And so you go to the animal park and you're like, oh, cool, dingoes, oh, cool, crocodiles. And then it's just like, oh, there's roos. I mean, that's nice.
More of those things. Bloody hell.
I guess. They're like really big rabbits. But you could feed them. That was nice. They were used to people, so you could feed them. So that was different at least.
This would be like going to like Liverpool bird enclosure and it's like a bunch of pigeons. Just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of horrible
Get outta
pigeons
here.
with 2 toes. Yeah. Eating chips they found on the floor. Those pigeons love chips, let me tell you.
But here's a question for people though. Now that we're on mid penguin funeral here, have you guys ever considered things you'd want to be done to your own remains in passing? Like, have you ever considered your own funeral wishes?
Oh,
or...
I regularly tell my loved ones. I have several things I say. The first is, if I ever go missing or am murdered, they know exactly the photo that they're supposed to give to the local news station. Because it's a photo of me at a party at VidCon where I just look really candid and great. And they're not allowed to send in any of the photos that they want to send into the news. But then I tell them that I don't want a funeral. I want them to save the money that they would have to put towards a funeral and instead do something ridiculous and probably illegal to get rid of the body and use the money to pay the fines.
That's genius. That's fantastic.
So have you like given them any options of like, you could potentially do this illegal activity, such as
Yeah, well, I mean, I always use the Viking funeral as the example because I'm like, see, here's the kind of thing. There's fire. It's almost certainly illegal. It's disruptive. Great. But I don't want a Viking funeral. You have to come up with something of your own.
Oh, okay.
It could involve trolleys. It could involve fireworks. It could involve,
Oh.
I have considered the Viking funeral, just because it's weird, it's quirky, it's interesting.
It's nice.
Other than that, throw me in the trash.
I'm in a very strange position now of just like, I really hope I live long enough to see Dael Kingsmill's funeral. And just to hear about what it is, like after all this time.
You know what? I nearly said, I do too.
Well, you could always fake your death, I suppose, and then see. There'll be no body, but they could come up with something to represent your body.
Yeah. I have a plan on hand for faking my death, so you know what? I have options.
I mean, I'm of the mind of like, I just like, harvest all, viable organs that are still, good enough to be used by someone else, and then go for cremation. Although there's that series finale of Doctor Who where they showed you like, oh, this in the afterlife, if you can feel the pain that your body's undergoing on Earth still.
Oh,
so if they cremate
Jesus,
you,
that's dark.
yeah, it was really messed up.
What season was that?
That was I think it was the first one with Peter Capaldi where they go to quote unquote
Oh,
heaven.
the Danny Pink season.
Yeah. I think that
was a
the-
bad finale.
I don't like that. That seems a bit, not to offend anyone, but a bit preachy, religious kind of a thing. Like,
It wasn't a great finale. Missy was amazing, but apart from that,
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It just wasn't a great season. To be fair, it's like that whole show wasted Peter Capaldi. Like it was just really like, they got such a great actor here, and they're just not.
yeah, and I was so excited for it.
Frankly, it's the same.
Let's not get onto that.
Yeah, frankly, it's the same thing with Jodie Whittaker. It's like she's so good. She's just not been given good material.
Yes.
It's like just give them what
Okay,
to do.
we cannot put this in the podcast, but I gotta say, I'm so glad to hear you say that because I was so stoked for Jodie Whittaker, and I did not like the season.
oh, I think that to me, that's the problem with Doctor Who in general. It always interests me, and then when I actually sit and watch it, I'm like, it's all right, I guess.
The thing that I've maintained, and I've spoken to other people who like the show, and they have concurred, is that Doctor Who's a show you just have to be patient with because you'll have to sit through weeks of pretty bad episodes where you might get a scene that's really good, and then eventually they'll get to an episode that's just amazing.
That is amazing.
And you'll be like, that was friggin' just like mind-blowingly good.
It's like, oh yeah,
And
that's
then-
why I watched this.
Yeah, and then you just go back to like, nah. It's just- But you just... It took like... Peter Capaldi has a friggin' monologue in his second season, which is some of the best acting in TV I've ever seen. But it took like to mid his second season for them to get to it. It's like...
You're not really selling the show on me again to go back and revisit, I'll be honest.
No.
The
Look,
closest I got last
mean-
night, I did meet a drag queen dressed as Jodie Whittaker.
Oh.
Oh.
Yes. A photo incoming. They haven't uploaded it.
Oh. But since then though, because I'm like, oh yeah, just go for the cremation and stuff, because like, yeah, whatever. But I'll just get you again. Just get me out of the way. Don't want me for taking up space. But I've recently started going to our local Asda. I've had to start like walking through the big graveyard that's in Liverpool, and I've been checking out some of the most like.
Some of the old school gravestones?
Yeah, the unnecessarily huge, ostentatious, like really just properly just obnoxious gravestones. I'm like,
Yeah.
I kind of want one of these now. This is
I want a crypt.
yeah, this is one of these huge big things. It costs a fortune, and there's no need for it because all it's doing is housing a dead body. It's like.
I mean, look,
I'm
not
on
to
board
sound
with this.
morbid, but I love a good cemetery. You know? I love a good cemetery that's moody. It's got some nice lighting. You've got some old tombstones where you've got weirdly poetic descriptions of how the person died. I want that.
Yeah. But it's been great for me in the past couple of weeks because I'm currently living with a couple. They have like a little baby boy. He's like 1 year old, and me and his dad just frequently take him the trip to the shops. We'll go through that cemetery, and then we'll just stand and look at the gravestones and like make up stories for him about the people and stuff. And it's like it's a great old time. It's a great way to spend the day with your family and just going and speculating on the dead. And,
No, it is. It's great. I do it all the time. Like when I last visited Edinburgh, I went to Greyfriars Kirkyard,
Love it.
the most haunted graveyard in, is it the UK or even the world? I'm not sure. It's a very, very
Ooh.
haunted graveyard. In fact, what do you call them? Ghost Adventures came and did an episode to it. They went there. And, I will admit, I'm skeptical on these things, but I got a photo of me taken by apparently the most haunted grave there.
the grave
And the
itself
picture-
took the picture of you. My God, it's amazing.
It did.
Yeah.
The grave took it. No, but the picture does have like a weird effect on it, and I was like, "That's a strange coincidence." It's got like this weird beam of light. That's pretty strange. I'll be honest, it's odd.
Oh.
But the only other burial thing I've seen recently that's quite good is there's that thing now where you can be turned into a tree.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
That's quite nice.
That was a
like
thing
that.
I actually remember really liking and I didn't understand why they poo-pooed it so much in the show. But like back in the days, when 6 Feet Under was on, I think Nate's wife, the Lily Taylor character, she dies in it, and there's a whole big thing where she doesn't want to have any chemicals put in her. She's like, I just want to be taken and buried by a tree because then I'll turn to mulch. I'll just be part of the land.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a really nice idea. Why doesn't everybody do that? But in the show, they're like, you can't do that. That's wildly
That's the
inappropriate.
big thing with graveyards that does get weird, because it's like, this is a nice idea, except that it's like just bigger and bigger stretches of land that cannot be used for anything else.
Yeah. Also, one of the other like really stupid things I remembered about like a thing just not necessary in terms of death is have you guys heard of the kiss casket? That
No.
yeah,
No.
as part of their
Oh wait, no, I have. It's dawned on me what you mean. Yeah,
as part of their merchandising, Kiss. You can Kiss the band are not giving away. It costs you like $4,000, but you can have a Kiss coffin, which has the band Kiss emblazoned across it, and apparently they're so like there's old photos of like Gene Simmons standing next to these things and stuff. I'm like, hey, here it is, and I'll kind of look at it and it's like, what's it? It's just got like Kiss on it. If you're gonna do it, should it not be like a special coffin or something? But I guess
It plays Kiss music from out the ground.
Yeah, when you open it, like a birthday card.
But the thing is, then, it's kind of like, yeah, but what can you add to a coffin? It's just, all you need is a box. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's $4,000 for something that ostentatious. And I know that apparently the band, they do encourage you, like, oh, don't buy it just when you're dead. Buy it now and, like, keep beer in it. Because it's waterproof. You can just fill it with ice. There you go, it's perfect. It's like, I've got buckets. Like, I don't need to spend $4,000 on a coffin.
I can paint Kiss on a bucket, yeah. Like,
hey, people
the other thing
will
that gets
spend
me,
money on it.
oh, they will in an instant.
Oh, of course. Apparently, the only people I know who have been buried in one is the guitarist from Pantera.
You said that as if it was someone that you're personally friends with.
Oh
Yeah.
me and Pantera go way back, of course.
You were the original bass player.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, like, I think the guitarist from Pantera was buried in a Kiss casket, and also the drummer later on was buried in a Kiss casket. But apparently, they were both donated by Gene Simmons. So I'm kind of wondering, like, did they want to be buried in a Kiss casket, or was Gene Simmons like, oh no, this was their final wish? Yeah, they definitely wanted to be buried in a casket with my face on it.
Of course. Who doesn't want that? Come on.
That's it. The other thing that stresses me out about, like, graveyards now is that, like, modern cemeteries have, like, it's basically the council bureaucrats get to decide, like, what goes on the tombstone, apparently. So it's like you have to pick from a list of different approved things that can go on the tombstone because it's council property and whatever. And that, I'm just so, like, inherently against that as a concept that it makes me actually want to go. I was looking into, because of course I was looking into the regulations regarding things like private burials on private land, and you can get permission to just, like, start a private cemetery on land that you own, and it makes me want to go and fill out all the paperwork and then just let people pay me to bury their loved ones on my land.
Yes.
With whatever the hell they want on the tombstone.
That's a good
Oh
idea.
my god, that'd be genius. Can we sponsor
Suck
it
it,
as the
Council.
official Bat-Minute graveyard?
Yeah, the official Batman graveyard. Welcome, one and all.
That's the thing now. We're going to be like, we're poo-pooing the Kiss casket, but now it's going to be like the Kingsmill casket. Like,
Oh, that's got a ring to it. That's great.
It does.
and Dale's just like, you can fill
Tell you
it with
what.
ice and put beer in it as well.
I'm
That's
into
great.
the idea, guys.
Coming soon. We're going to have to buy kingsmillcasket.com now. As we mentioned.
Yeah.
We've got some
Someone
good
will buy
merchandise out of this season. We've got the Wesley Strick revised draft excluders. We've got the Kingsmill casket. We're racking up stuff here for the.
Perfect.
Oh, speaking of the strict revised draft,
Uh,
it's slightly different here because these penguins here are specifically the elder penguins, as they're called. That they are identified as such, and it says, I like the way this is written. In death, as in birth, the 4 elder grey-bellied emperor penguins surround their fallen disciple. Then, like pallbearers, they lift Penguin's body with their beaks and mournfully bear him away into the darkness. Now, that's insane that they could lift the penguin. I want to see that.
Those are some strong penguins.
I think that might be the answer as to why he just mysteriously slides into the water, because like, they tried to shoot that.
Couldn't figure it out.
And it's like, that ain't happening.
Not enough fish in the world to train them to do that.
That's the thing that kind of opens up the avenue, though, of like, oh, they just took him into the dark. It's like, what were they going to do to him? Were they going to eat him? Were they going to revive him?
Yeah, as we've established, they're going to consume his body in the traditional manner.
It might just be a very slow cryogenic thing.
I think, like in Batman 6, it's just Danny DeVito's cryogenically frozen head. Is that
I'm back, baby.
I know DeVito, he wants to play the Penguin again, so I'm sure we pitched it to him. He's like, of course! Now I've been waiting for an end.
I'm in!
Well, he's still basically playing the character on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with the Penguin's slow descent into the waters, I think I'm kind of noted out for this minute. If you guys are, unless you have anything specific you want to talk about in this.
No, I think that's all my queries.
Oh.
Yeah, I need a stiff drink to calm my nerves after this. I'm
all
upset.
you need is a nice glass of ice water.
Oh, yeah.
See what I did? That was a reference.
Bat-Minute branded water coming soon.
Yeah.
But you know, as unfortunately you're only here for one episode this season, Dael, because you're a very busy person these days.
I'm so busy.
Although I do wonder, because you might not be aware of this, but you are now just slightly under the record for most appearances on, because you did last season for a week you did Die Hard Minute with us, and then you did a hiatus episode. And then the only other person who's done all those was Stephanie Palacino, and she did a full week this season. So now you're just 2 episodes shy of like being neck and neck with her.
You're a loser.
I've failed.
But we're gonna do the next 2 episodes. You're like, I can't let this slide. Just barging into the recording room. It's like, no, I'm back.
Well,
I've changed my mind.
What we should do is take sound clips from this that aren't relevant to the minute and just pepper it throughout the rest that are remaining. So then technically you're on all those episodes.
I just become a featured guest with random, irrelevant facts about Doctor Who and funerals.
Perfect. And just every once in a while an episode is like, do you concur, Dael? And just have a sound clip of you going, yes. Just like,
yes.
Okay, she's here.
She's definitely recorded this.
In the room, live in person.
But usually at the end of the week, we'd always ask guests about their history of the movie. But because this is your only episode this season, do you have any memories of Batman Returns or anything in general you want to come out with before we depart?
I mean, like I said, I'd only ever seen the second half of this, and again, just like with the first of these movies, I hadn't seen it until my adult life. I don't know what happened to have me miss out, but I really didn't have anything. So I guess my first memory of it was just Michelle's, I say as though she's my friend, Michelle Pfeiffer's re-entry into her apartment when she first becomes Catwoman, as she's about to become Catwoman, which is just such a killer scene. Like, she's nailing it. The direction is so cool. Like, she's so crazy, and it is such a like definitive Catwoman, that performance as she begins sort of putting her suit together.
She's wonderful.
The thing is, though, you know who covered that scene? Current Bat Minute guest record holder Stephanie Palacino was
No!
In our most off the wall week yet, because we barely talked about. It was one of our favourite scenes of the film, and we barely spoke.
Yeah, she was 9 months pregnant when she recorded, so she was just like venting about everything, and we're just like, just let the woman talk about what she wants to talk about. She just
let it out.
Yeah, in a way, that was the most fitting way to honour that set of episodes.
Say so.
Really.
Yeah. Spiritually, it was in the spirit of just her giving up and like people parking too close to her flat that annoyed her and stuff. And
Yeah.
Oh, but we will depart now. We will head off into the dark, dark night. And Dael, would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you? If they haven't already, I'm sure they are all followers of you now. But you can promote any wonderful work you have coming up.
Certainly. I can be found on my YouTube channel, Monarch's Factory, and on Twitter at DailyDael, and that's spelled DailYDael. Just for clarity, because my name is spelled Dael.
Yes, do check it out, everybody. And because all the videos are great, wonderful, and much more intelligent than anything we do. So go and...
That sounds unlikely.
No, it's true, but they're all wonderful fun. That's the most important thing. It's not dry, it's fun. That's what you want. Entertainment galore.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not? Surely, if you're not, then just bugger off. We're not interested. Go. If you're not entertained by us or by Dael, then you've got no hope. Come on, just give up. Surrender. Just slide into the water of your own accord. Into the silky waters of Lake Minnetonka. And if you want more entertainment, though, do join us for our next minute 119. Holy crap, we're near the end. Niall, what day will that be? I'm confused.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. This is Monday. Yes, of course. We're not recording this ahead of schedule and in a completely weird order at all. No. Join us on Wednesday for more wonderful Bat Minute returns.
And next time, Bruce is followed by a moon shadow, as a formal funeral waddle scraps him into a toxic mix. Gotham's foulest, festering felon floats down the river Styx. But with the putrid penguin a thing of the past, will a slinking silhouette give our hero some hope at last? Find out Wednesday, same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.